So you have got a quick introduction about myself. I will give another introduction in a minute or so. But before that, let me ask you, for God, what we believe in? If I say, if I have a God, what I go for God? I go for my luck. So there is a say, for luck we believe in God, rest everything we believe in data, and that's why we are here. I'm going to talk about all data and how the data is stored in the data stores and in the databases. So I'm from the Microsoft background for a very long time. So quick introduction about myself. I'm into industry for 15 years now. With SQL Server I'm playing around nicely for last 10 years. I have been fortunate enough to be the part of different community groups as well. Majorly I contribute to the Data Platform Geeks, which is Asia's largest community group, and we have near about 2 lakh registered users across the globe and getting benefited through with this. Apart from that, we have conducted, when I say we as a community, I'm the regional mentor as well for the Bangalore and the Mumbai chapter, so you may find it over there if you look across. And we have conducted 4 conferences starting from year 2015 till 2018, 3 conferences in the same hall. So I know each and every corner of this room as well as this area, but that's a separate thing. So you have my Twitter handle, my Facebook account, and my, I guess, LinkedIn as well. So in case you have any further queries, because as I said, I'm going to do the batting in the slog overs, and I have been already preached that I have to finish this session in less than the time which has been given. So you are already ready to go home last day of the conference. So this is quick introduction about myself. Let me quickly jump into the topic. There are some expectations which I want to set you for that. I'm not going to read all of them because you can quickly have it. Look here. Some of the most important thing is a takeaway. What you are going to take after this session. So I'm going to draft you quickly here. What are the basic takeaways? You are going to take it here. So how many of you know SQL Server? Wonderful. Then you are going to enjoy this session for sure. So few of the takeaways. And how many of you have SQL Server running on Linux? Excellent. So I am in the right place and the right audience. So how SQL Server, this takeaway is very important, and for the purpose of that you are here. So gear up yourself with the SQL Server on Linux and how you are going to use the SQL Server Linux environment, and what are the high level capabilities of SQL Server on Linux. So somebody who is in a senior position or an architect level or IT strategist, they can easily walk through this presentation and take a decision after moving out of this session. They may go ahead and take a decision whether they need to go for this technology or not, or some of the features they can really leverage and some of them they can really not. How many of you know this guy? Anybody can name? Exactly. And he's the father of Linux. And what he said? Can anybody read for me? If Microsoft ever does application for Linux, it means I have won. And that's what I'm going to talk about it. That's how Linux has already won this battle with the Microsoft, with the Microsoft, together with Microsoft, and now Microsoft is more than willing to ship their product on Linux itself. So I'm not going to preach about the technology. I have a small demo as well, because I do believe that whatever you talk about it, there should be a small introduction in terms of demo, so you can go ahead and leverage it later. So the quick agenda of what I'm going to cover into this session, the very high level that everybody has in mind, that how the Windows based tightly coupled software, which is SQL Server, which is a premium product of Microsoft and generates hell lot of revenue for Microsoft, how it has been, Microsoft has been agreed to ship to Linux and make it available for everybody. So as I mentioned in the session start itself, the audience has to be capable enough to know that SQL Server a bit. If not, then it is also okay. On the other side of it, I'm going to talk about it, the drawbridge. Anybody know what the drawbridge is? Anybody? No. Never mind, I'm going to talk about it. Then the third thing is I'm going to talk about the high level architecture of SQL Server PAL. Okay, and the last but not the least is SQL Server on Linux, how it has been shipped, what changes has been made to make it available, and a quick demo as I mentioned to you. So let me talk about that Windows based RDBMS, how it has been shipped to Linux. Everybody has a thought in their mind when Microsoft is shipping their product to Linux operating system, they are going to negotiate at the somewhere. That's not the case. Microsoft has paid their all due diligence and they have become more cautious on this product when they made a decision to go with SQL Server on Linux, because Microsoft, if you look at in the Gartner matrix of the RDBMS, Microsoft SQL Server is on top of it. Even Oracle is much behind when it comes to the security. None of the RDBMS in the world provide so robust security what Microsoft SQL Server gives. So why to leave that USP? That was a major USP for that, and that's why they never wanted to negotiate it whether it go to the Linux itself. So that's where it is the same RDBMS. When you are taking a decision, you can go with the same RDBMS. There's no change a bit of it. But how it has been done, then probably my next further slides are going to talk about it. And the most important thing is how the gap has been bridged between the Linux operating system and the Windows operating system. Because Linux operating system and the Windows operating system like mutually exclusive from each other. There's no, like they speak totally different language. So everybody has a thought that how it has been done that. And why Microsoft, the most important thing how it comes later, but why it has been done. The most important thing why it has been done. So Microsoft was like, when Azure is there for a long time and other environments, so Microsoft has done a little research it around and identified that in somewhere in Q2, Q3 on 2013 and 14, and they realized that near about 40% of their servers hosted in the Azure or Linux. So that was a surprising quotient. So that gave a food for thought that why we cannot take that portion of it, because if you are running on Linux, of course you are not going to run with the SQL Server as your database. So how come you are going to run with that, and how we can make it flexible? Because look at today's world. If I go to a restaurant, I try to make sure that whatever I do order, it comes with me as much as customized, and it has to go with my taste. Even the restaurant owners and the cooks also want that. So the same ideology has come to the software technology also. When you go to the market or marketplace, every developer, every company has their own ideology. They want to go with what they want to do with that. I have a standard Linux-based environments. All the servers are Linux. But on the other side, I want to have SQL Server. So how I can have that SQL Server and Linux both together? So that was the space which we have to fill it. That much of customization Microsoft has done, because Microsoft always says there, I will be there where you want me to be. So let's make it very simple. They are always there and they are ready to help. So this is pretty much tightly coupled with the Linux operating system, and it is pretty much going with that. So let me quickly talk about it. How Microsoft, so what we have already got that, right? Why it has been done. Now coming to the how we are going to do that, how it has been done. How many of you know this bridge? Right, London Bridge? And what makes it unique from others? Probably the flips over there, and this is called the drawbridge. You might have seen in a movie called Bahubali, right? There is a palace, Maheshmati, right? It was there. That's the same is called drawbridge. What exactly it is done? So if you look at this picture, you might be realizing that why it has been designed. It is just not being designed to go the ships under that. It has already been designed to move any kind of ships to go through with that, right? That's also the ideology behind setting up a drawbridge. So same technology. Drawbridge is a technology of a Microsoft research team itself, and they had done this because of when the virtualization came into the picture. the biggest challenge was with the virtualization was lot of companies want to buy a bare metal server and pump in all their infrastructure to the virtualized one. But how the resource optimization has to be done? How it can give you the maximum performance? So you buy one server, but you ship it all your servers to their virtual machines to them, and still you want to get the best performance. So that's where the drawbridge came into the picture. Microsoft has designed, and it has helped to go back to it has a backward compatibility also. So you can go back to the older environment as well. However, what is basically done, it is a containerization of it. So it creates a container for your application itself, and then it talks to the host operating system. So I have a diagram for that, and I will probably be able to help you that. But why we have Microsoft has used this technology drawbridge? Why they have not gone directly to like doing this containerization of it? I don't like it. So see, time is a demand, right? Big demand is time to the market. If you are gonna go and like given your example also and somebody else's code also, if I ask you that your code is dependent to one operating system or one specific environment and I want a much latest environment, would you be ready to redesign your code and give it to me in as soon as possible? Probably not. You will simply say, no, it's not possible. That's what the same challenge with the Microsoft. So in March 2016, Microsoft realized that, and they realized and they released the product, which is a SQL Server on Linux as a community technology preview, CTP1. In that time, they realized that, okay, this is something we have to do that. However, on the other side also, we don't want to shake our whole RDBMS, which is 35 years old product, right? A very golden copy of it, millions of lines written over there. I just don't want to touch it. How I am going to, but on the other side, I have to give the demand to the market. So they containerize it, and the same SQL Server is shipped to Linux environment without any hindrance, without any negotiation, and trust me. No, this is a drawbridge technology. Yeah, similar to that. Yeah, exactly. So I'm sorry, but I have to run few more slides and a demo also, so I will take all your question offline, right? So let me quickly jump into that further slides. This is the most important slide, and I would request you all to concentrate here so you can get benefited most of it. So on the left hand side of it, you do see a Pico process. What exactly the Pico process is? I will talk about it more in detail. Then on below than that, do you see the dotted line, ABI boundary? And then you see a yellow line, which is says as a PAL. Then it is going to the another block, which is a dotted line, which is nothing, a host operating system, which can be any of it. It can be Windows, it can be Linux, it can be SUSE or any other like operating system in the world itself. So what it is being done, if you look at these two yellow layer, what does it mean? So they basically are the part of the same thing, and they are tightly coupled to each other. So what basically is doing, as I said, the security is the topmost priority for the Microsoft SQL Server, which they have not negotiated. That's why whenever you look at the security, let me go a little bit more detail into. When I ask you what is security, security is not something which you can do it in an application level, right? You may do it, but most of the environment, most of the infrastructure, you always want to go with the periphery level, which means at the data center level, you always have a firewall, then your data comes inside. You are not going to say that every time I am going to do the security in the application from the outside world. In the same way, Microsoft has also done the job here and giving the security monitors. So every request which is coming from the Pico process is going to go with the PAL, which is platform abstraction layer, and then it goes to the security monitor, and when it has been frisked right properly, that request is genuine, it is fine, then it go and talk to your network system driver, file drivers, and then so on and so forth, and then it goes to the kernel level and give you the further scheduling, monitoring, as well as the memory optimization and all. Now look at that more detail. When I talk to you about Pico process, because a lot of people are still having their thought, I have not talked anything about the Pico process. So Pico process is nothing, it's a simple address in the memory. It is a simple address which is just blank. You can put anything into that Pico process and it will talk to the operating system. And that's where you do see this. This is the Pico process which contains a set of library OS. What is the library OS? You can think about the microkernel of Windows. Windows makes near about 1500 calls with SQL Server, right? 1500 different calls with the SQL Server. But what it has been done, it has been optimized to the 800, then gone to the 400, and further it has been drilled down to 45 calls only. So rather than redesigning the whole code, we have tweaked it the only 45 primarily DLLs which talks to the SQL Server with the Windows, and they are tightly coupled, and they have optimized them. And what is there? There is an application boundary as well, right? Application binary interface. ABI stands for application binary interface. So we have drilled it down. So there is a small, in that container, look at, I told you about the containerization of it, right? So in that container, what is being shipped? On top of it, application AXE. And what is application EXE is here? SQL Server. Application EXE is SQL Server. Then application DLL is SQL Server DLL. Then it goes down and talk to your anti-OS kernel, which is anti-user mode. We are still in user mode. We have not gone to the kernel mode, right? So we are still talking to the, everything is happening in the user mode, and that is why it is a containerized one. And then it is going to talk to the security monitor, which is sitting at the host OS level. So this is whole block itself a Pico process. So just don't restrict yourself that Pico process is tightly coupled to SQL Server. It's not the case. You can run any process in Pico process if you are leveraging a drawbridge technology. Are you with me? Hope you are. Okay, we'll have further questions. So this is very high level of it, how exactly Microsoft made their 35 years old premier product shipped to the Linux environment. But does it mean that, is it free? Not really. Not really. But what is the use case? Why I need to see? We are here for the open source conference, right? And we are talking about a lot of free tools, free applications. But it doesn't mean that everything is free. Like MySQL also, given a competitor here, Oracle also, they have two editions, Community Edition and your Enterprise Edition. There's the same way. I will show you at the time of the installation, you have editions which you can choose, and there's a Developer Edition, which is a complete bundle of whole Microsoft Enterprise application, which is bundled with the Developer Edition. You can go ahead and install it and leverage every single technology or a piece involved with the Enterprise Edition, and you will not be charged. That is the Developer Edition to evangelize the product more. So as Microsoft is keep on coming with that, they have a Java integration, Python integration, .NET, Visual Studio Code, and all are already shipped to the open source environment. So it's not like, if anybody is really interested to know about what Microsoft is doing with that, probably microsoftopenness.com is another website where you will get to see that lot of products which they have integrated from open source to that. And probably Sandeep's yesterday presentation, the keynote, he did mention as well that GitHub, why we bought GitHub. It's just not because of it is the largest repository. It is because we are the largest contributor to the repository itself, and these codes are already might be available over there. So that is a Pico process. Pico process is more defined here, where you get to know that how it is talking to each other, and Windows binaries are talking to SQL Server, and SQL Server is able to talk to any operating system, because that's the abstraction has been created here, which we'll call PAL, Platform Abstraction Layer. Now let me talk about the platform abstraction layer, how it has been defined and what exactly it does. So On top of it, everything is a SQL server, which is plain RDBMS, file system, data files, log files, other things you have created, it's already sitting there. Then it comes to the hosted Windows API. As I told you, there are limited APIs also, which has to talk to, they are still tightly coupled, it's not that easy. Microsoft is continuously working to create a full flat version or, full fat version of SQL Server product for Linux itself, but as far as it is containerized. So hosted Windows API, then it goes to the anti-user mode. Then some SOS direct APIs means SQL Server operating system. SQL Server has its own operating system, which is used for any kind of scheduling, memory management, IOPS optimization and all. Then it comes to the storage manager, network manager, resource manager, process, security, availability and probably config. And then after it comes the most important thing, and that's why I've highlighted here, it is SOS v2. It is a version 2 which is nothing else as named as a platform abstraction layer. And that's where the memory scheduling and synchronization is being done by that. So, and then it talks to the host extension and the integration of it, right? So this is pretty much high level of how the abstraction is being done here to showcase that how it is going to talk to the memory scheduling and synchronization has been done for the SQL Server. SOS is basically nothing, is a SQL PAL. Don't get confused with that, because drawbridge is a technology, right? We have inherited there. So that's why I cannot write SQL PAL over there, right? That's why I have distinguished. When it comes to this slide, this is the SQL Server architecture where we are talking about the version 2 of SQL Server operating system. When we say version 2 can talk to either Windows operating system and it can talk to your Linux operating system as well. There is no difference there, you will see that. And let me quickly go to the next slide. SQL Server vNext. Why we say vNext? vNext, all the new versions, new flavors are coming. They are coming as a vNext. As of now, SQL Server on Linux is supported by Microsoft. It is released to market, which is RTM version. 2019 has also come up with the CTP version. As of now, the Community Technology Preview 2.0 is running for 2019. It supports Red Hat Linux 7.3, SUSE Enterprise Linux version 12, Ubuntu 16.04, and you can run on Docker engine also. So there's no problem if you are running with a Docker engine as well. There are some limitations and a bug. Yeah, definitely every product is evolving, so does the Microsoft SQL Server does, and eventually you may see a lot of the things which are currently restricted, they are not going to be the restriction one. Okay, quick time for the demo. I'm going to show you how SQL Server is installed on a Linux environment. Okay. So let me bring up my machine here. So while the machine is coming up, anybody has any questions, I may answer. Yes, definitely I have done that. So it eases out quite a bit of pain for any technologist or IT strategist to go through that and work upon it or make a decision. On Linux, you see, it's the same process. You have to first identify the keys, then add the repository, update the system. It will get all the files downloaded and you can get it installed as well.
It is an open system or closed?
It is open system. I will show you that.
Okay.
Yeah, client tools are there. Yeah. I have a complete demo for that.
Did you find any difference in performance-wise while when compared to Linux and Windows?
I do see that, but for a very large databases. For very, very large databases, definitely, as I said, that the product is still evolving, right? It is there, and it is exactly going to do the job. You will not find any major differences. However, performance is like a trade-off, how you want to do that, right? If you are hosting a very large databases, then probably you will still go with SQL Server on Windows operating system and live with that. If you are like, because a lot of high availability solutions, when you're talking to a large database, there are cascade things comes into that, right? You are just not going to have one thing. You will have high availability, disaster recovery, further security, lot of optimization also you are going to do that. So probably you need to choose what is best for you. Okay. Somehow I don't see it here. They are supported as of now.
But it should work on any other.
Yes, CentOS also. You can install, yeah.
Certified.
Yeah, this is.
Tested.
Yeah, we have tested, and Microsoft has listed on their website itself that these are the one where we do support 100%.
Okay, but other Linux platform also it should work. Right?
Yeah. CentOS, yeah, as a research product process, and for my own learning perspective, I did install. I'm not from Microsoft for sure, but for my learning perspective, I have installed it onto the CentOS as well, and I did not find any difference. They are same set of repositories, same set of binaries are there, which you can download from internet directly and run those off.
What about other integration products? Are they also made available, like SSIS?
SSIS is, yes, SSIS is present. SSRS and AS are yet to go. So for understanding perspective, I have just taken some of the, I will show you that, don't worry about it. So what I'm going to do that, first I need to get the key from the Microsoft repository itself, so I can map it to my machine. Then I'm going to do that, add the repository over there. And after that, I will update my Ubuntu system. This demo is on Ubuntu 16.04 because it's a community-driven edition, so I found it much better than doing it Red Hat and any other version of it. And then I'm going to do some system commands as well, just to check whether it is installed or not. And trust me, if internet support, it is not going to take more than 60 seconds. So what I'm going to do it here, I'm going to run some commands directly here. Ubuntu 16.04, okay. SQL Server, yeah, I will show you how to choose that. I will show you. Yeah, I will show you. I will show you all the options are there. I will show you. Okay, then the registry is there. Now let me add quickly the repository. Okay, we are good. Then I'm going to run. I'm going to update the system. Okay. Okay, then it says that it is already installed. So this is SQL Server is already installed on it. Probably I it did re-image it. Do I have a time? Probably not. I may need to re-image that for that purpose. But anyways, let me show you that whether it is a SQL CMD. Yes, SQL CMD is also installed on this machine. So I still have 5 minutes. Yeah, I have. So okay. So let me close this session. And okay. So I'm going to re-image this file. How many of you use VMbox for day in, day out purpose? Right? That's very simple, very easy. Oracle has done a great job providing this tool. I used to have a hypervisor as well, Microsoft, but I found it is easy and straightforward. So 175 MB. And at the time of the configuration of it, it will allow me to choose the options for that which one edition I want. There are two things, version and edition. So I talked to you about that. The developer edition has the same set of rules, same set of features. With enterprise, there's no difference. You are going to get the same thing in this product, developer, but it is free. So you can go ahead and install it after this session itself. Same as enterprise. No, same as enterprise. No, same as enterprise. Only the licensing is the game changer here. So you cannot run production over there. Then you will be penalized in some other way. Since Satya Nadella has joined, he is a great visionary. I personally like him very well. I am following him. And he has created a lot of avenues to chip in the gap between these close-ended and proprietary applications to work with open source system. And this is one of the great initiatives. Like 35 years old product, why it needs to be done? When it is standing in the Gartner's matrix, when it is standing at the top of it, why you need to come forward and shake a hand with an open source system? But still there is a need, because open source is like running like anything into the market, and if we keep ourselves isolated, we will not be able to run up as much fast as we want. So you do see here, there are some services are installed and it is asking to restart that. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do that is first I'm going to configure it, because so far I have done the installation and I guess it has not taken more than 2 minutes, because based upon the internet connectivity. So there is a command which is sudo app MS SQL bin. There is a configuration tool or a library file itself, mssql-config, which you want to run with the parameter setup, and it will allow you the further things into it. Now the point comes into which edition you want to see that. So you were talking about the professional thing. Here it answers this question. Evaluation, free, no production use, right? 180 days trial. And it has a very limited feature. But when it comes to developer, it is exactly the same copy. Free, no production rights. Express is again free, web, paid. And I'm going to choose the developer edition because it is free. I'm going to accept the license, then I'm going to set the language. I need to set a password for that. So I choose my favorite password. And what it does, this configuration tool is just not configuring the SQL Server, it is restarting it. So with the system control file or systemctl command, you can check whether the service has been come up successfully or not. So I'm going to just run the system for the SQL Server. How I'm going to log into the SQL Server first time? As of now, it is not yet integrated into AD, but they are trying to do that. I think the latest version has been done for that. Okay, then I'm going to say the service name is MS SQL Server, and you can see that the SQL Server service is up and running on a Linux environment. Now the question comes at how I'm going to connect it. So coming back to your question again, you asked me that tools, like client tools also. So I'm going to download some keys, add the repository, and do the installation. 1 more minute to go. Okay. So probably the curl is not installed. Okay. Then I am going to see whether the service like ODBC drivers and the client tools are installed, so I can connect and see whether it has installed or not. Then I'm going to say okay. Not really. Okay, I guess I have to yet to install that. Okay, sudo apt. So you do see they have made it so lightweighted that it is not going to take much of the time for you also. Previously, if I have to do the same thing on Windows, it takes quite a bit of time, but in Linux, it is just like pretty fast. I've just run few commands and we are done with that. Okay, so it must be installed, then I am gonna do that. The list is there. Okay, the tools folder is created, then I am gonna say bin, then the SQL CMD is here, right? So what I am gonna do that, probably run the SQL CMD from here. Yes, the command is installed. I am gonna say SQL CMD -s is my local host, -u is my SA, which is a default one. Okay, I have to remove that, sorry. I have used the ls-ltr. So it is asking for the password. I am going to put the password here, and that's here you go. This is SQL Server 2017 RTM, cumulative update 11 is running on a Linux version. And that's all I wanted to show you all. Thank you so much.